Hello. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Time.
I liked our history lesson you were giving us about the Civil War, or we could, most probably go back to the Revolutionary War, but we won't have to go that far.
I don't think
It-
you have to, because what broke people was not war, although war can. What broke people was the ascendancy of capitalism. Capitalism makes money by exploiting people and nature,
Right.
and that's the only way it makes money. It's either always exploiting a person, their ignorance, their consumer habits, something,
Yeah.
uh, or it's exploiting nature.
Whatever there.
Not well thought out.
Oh, I guess it
whatever
was
you're
very.
doing.
Oh, I blew it because that was, yeah, it was. There wasn't a lot of slack in that. Wait. Oh, I guess that.
Yeah, this whole setup is really, really marginal.
Well, yeah, it is in a sense that it's. Yeah, I have to work on it, and I didn't think about that. So this is what I needed to do. I have stress. See, and I can bring that. If you could bring the monitor close to you, go ahead and pull it close to you, if you want. Oh no, you can't reach it. I can reach it. Hold on. See, now I have a lot of slack here. See, if you can grab this.
Okay.
Okay.
Orders of operation. There's other things that
All
have to
right,
be done
good. See, now
first.
go ahead and grab it closer to you if you want, because I have a lot of slack here. Let me hold it a little closer. Okay, good. Then I could just, yeah, like, let's see if I, yeah, turn it down towards the bottom, because your head is cut off. Can you,
Hold it.
yeah, tilt it down, the camera, or, yeah, that's better. Now that's, oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, even a little more. Oh, I guess, yeah, a little
A
more.
little more what?
Down.
Down.
Because the headspace, there's too much headspace above you.
So it goes the other way.
Oh, so maybe it was just because you were so close, I couldn't tell. Okay, yeah, lift it up then. Lift it up a little bit.
What does that mean?
Because, okay, let me see if I lift it up. Because how do you lift it up? Do you just go like that? Oh, I see. I'm seeing it now. I see it. Oh, nice. It's got a nice swivel. All right, that's nice. All right, good. So let me just do end stream, and then oh, okay, so not yet. Can you hit start? Oh, we are live. We've been live the whole time. It never really broke. I thought I broke.
Pay attention.
All right, good. So we're
Don't
going.
do something if it's not necessary.
All right, we're doing it. We're going. Good. And that should be better audio, which is good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So what were we talking about?
If you can move over to the right, I was just going to sit there a little bit and get the framing set up. If you move over to the right, this way, and I'll sit next to you.
You mean over here?
Yeah, no, move that way. I guess that's your left. Move yourself to the left, and then I can be in the shot if.
Yeah, but there's not going to be a chair if I do that.
No. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. Move that chair to the. Oh, okay. There's the two chairs. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Try this.
Oh, okay. Right. Very good. All right. Good. And I'll sit, and then I.
So this is the disadvantage of having the camera on the back of the monitor.
Why is that? Because I can't see it. You can't see.
You can't see.
All right, that's fine. But we're just doing a test, so we're okay. What's good about it is it's less distracting because you have to look at the monitor because that's the only thing you can do is look up there.
Yeah, look at the camera.
Camera, which is good. Isn't it less distracting? All right, good. So here we go.
What are we talking about?
Well, you called it Broken People, Broken Country. And we started the Civil War. And
broken people, broken country, broken world. That's really the progression.
That's true.
So there's a lot of opinion about what capitalism is and why it's the best ism or the worst ism or how it compares to other isms. But speaking strictly as an engineer and not really having any political horse in this race, I can tell you what capitalism is. What other definitions people may give you, I can tell you what it does. And as an engineer and as a person who doesn't really care about what people say, but what people do, I don't care about what it says on the manual. I care about what the machine does. Does it do what it's supposed to do? And what does capitalism do as a machine? I don't care what people say it does. I don't care what people think it does. I don't care what people wanted it to do. What I care about is what does it do? And if you look at the history of capitalism, and maybe it was different in the beginning, but certainly the trajectory in the last 100 years, what you recognize very quickly is capitalism enriches itself as a institution by exploiting humans and nature to exhaustion.
To death is what you said, right?
Well, exhaustion like resources. So it gets all the coal out of the mountain. It cuts all the trees down. It
use up all the people,
yes,
even if they die
takes all
at the job site
for agriculture. It fills in all the marshes and turns them into condominium projects. Okay, it does everything to the utmost, to the maximum, always without regulation. And if there are regulations, it tries to destroy the regulations, generally successfully. There are very few regulations, actual real regulations on capitalism. And people may think there are, but there are not in this country. In Europe, you'll see real regulation. Not in this country, you won't. You see pretend regulation. So an unregulated capitalism becomes immensely predatory capitalism. And lots of people in the world are now pointing to this as a problem, that American-style capitalism, to distinguish it maybe from European-style capitalism, which has been somewhat domesticated, American-style capitalism is predatory. And how it makes money, how it enriches its operators, is it exploits nature and humans to exhaustion, to terminal condition, to termination. All of everything, all the time. And when capitalism has completely impacted a region, it spreads to new regions. Now, their euphemism for this is finding new markets. That's their euphemism, but that's not what it is. It's finding more things to exploit because you've exploited everything in your immediate vicinity. So it metastasizes, which is a term borrowed from oncology or cancer studies. It metastasizes, it spreads. Yeah. Okay, it spreads to new markets, as they say. Well, our capitalists, our oil industries, to pick one, very early, like 100 years ago, exhausted many of the easy accessible oil reserves in the United States, and therefore, to grease the wheels of its engines, had to go to other countries. Well, this took us into other regions, other nations. We had to fight wars for oil. We've been fighting wars for oil for 40 solid years. Nearly every conflict we've been engaged in has been over control of oil resources because we don't have any anymore. And then they invented fracking, which was a one-way, a technological solution to get at other types of oil reserves.
Much more difficult. Yeah, it was.
Doesn't matter.
But that's the reality.
Or in Canada, they decided it was okay to cut down huge swaths of forest and turn the place into Mordor to get at the tar sands.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, so we have either gone a field to find new markets, both to sell our products and to get new resources, or we've dug deeper into our natural resources in more punishing and deleterious ways to get more out of them. So that's what capitalism does. And on the human side, it exploited American workers, destroying unions, having crappy work conditions, burying people in landmines, all this kind of stuff. Until finally the unions came along and other types of organization and fought back. And they said, you can't treat us this way. Oh, and furthermore, you have to give us a livable wage, a minimum wage to start with. And you can't use child labor to start with. And you have to pay people a wage that they can survive with. Well, as soon as that started happening, then it was very clear to the capitalists that they couldn't exploit the people anymore because the people had stood up on their hind legs and demanded reforms.
Yeah. Not enough, but some.
No, it doesn't matter. Right. Even one.
I don't know.
Even one.
Started the ball rolling.
We can't exploit child labor. Wow, that's a requirement. I gotta think about that. Is that okay with me? I don't know. Oh, now you want a minimum wage? Oh, geez. Now that's two things. I don't know. Two whole things I have to keep track of now. What's your age and what's your wage supposed to be? I don't know. This is getting complicated now. I can't figure this. I need a spreadsheet to figure this out. So They took those jobs and they exported them overseas. Now, what they did was they got tired of trying to exploit the Americans who were getting savvy to what was happening. So they went to other countries where the people were not as savvy, exploited the fuck out of them.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so when poor middle American, sod who lost his factory job and he wants to blame somebody, he doesn't blame the capitalists because they have been equated with freedom. It was capitalism when they won the Second World War, right? Capitalism is all about freedom. It's not. It's about getting rich. And no, you're not in. And yet it's freedom. So now these sad sots are running around trying to figure out how they're going to reconcile the fact that they got nothing. They live in a single wide mobile home. They're on disability. They get all the opioids they can eat, but that's about all they've got going for them, right? Is hard drugs to deaden the pain. They're trying to reconcile that here in this America, the land of capitalism and freedom, which are equated one with the other, they haven't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. They don't understand that. And so they're running around trying to figure this out. And they're too dumb. They're too dumb because the schools didn't prepare them with lessons about history and economy and wealth and resource extraction. These do not get discussed in our public schools. They don't even get discussed in our popular culture or our media.
Well, and I just wanted to talk about that word freedom because, Kat has said things like we need to be free. You would talk about it as rigorously free from.
Okay.
Well, how would you call that? Remember, you used to talk about it.
There's freedom with a capital F,
right?
Which is just another ism. And there's freedom with a lowercase f, which is, to be free, right? It's a verb.
Free of consumerism? Was that? I forgot what we used to say.
Okay. Freedom with the uppercase F is the easiest to get at first. Freedom is the flag waving, eagles flying in the sky, bombers in the air, fighting communism, capitalism for everybody, making oil safe for democracy. That's freedom with a capital F. It's been all conflated with the military-industrial complex, with exploitation of foreign countries, with a regime change in foreign countries. Freedom is what we bring to other countries when we want their shit. Okay, freedom with a capital F is what we bring to other countries when we want. We
sell to them, saying that they're going to get more freedom or something.
Yeah, we're bringing freedom when we land troops in their country, take their oil. We're bringing
free their women from the abuses of the men, or different things like that.
Like Smedley Butler, correctly pointed out in his book War is a Racket. There's two things that happen when the capitalists show up in a country. The first thing they do is they take the resources, and it's generally stuff that even the indigenous peoples, whoever live there, don't even recognize as a resource. So they're okay with us taking it. If they do recognize this resource, then we have freedom for them. Okay, we free them of their current regime, we free them of their misconceptions about the importance of things, and then we get their resources. The other freedom we bring them is the freedom for them to join our consumer culture. So the reason we agitate for women to get educations and to join the workforce and be equally treated is because that works so well in America. When we got women out of their homes, then they became dependent on a job and a paycheck, and they had to get an education. And education is an industry. They made money. Jobs now have men and women lining up around the block for any position, so that makes it a lot easier to get by without paying a large wage. And women, let's face it, are just more easily manipulated in the workplace. They're easily intimidated. They have a culture, an internal culture of getting along with people and not asking for things and making no demands and not rippling the waves. And so women are easier employees to have on. And once they have children, then they become duty bound to your workplace. Now, you can't get men to be duty bound to your workplace. Men have options, right? They have a wife at home taking care of the kids. His responsibility is to make a living wage for his family, but he can move to another place and real easily get another job because everything's being taken care of at home. But a woman, she has to take care of everything at home. And her options are really, really minor, really small. Really, she doesn't have many options at all, especially if she's a single mom, which is something that our culture has been taught to support. Single motherhood, sex before marriage, women don't need men, and all these kinds of things that the media has been constantly teaching us. We end up with single moms, and single moms have no options. And they will work for the job. They'll do whatever he wants. They'll have sex with the boss, whatever it takes, okay, to keep that job. And so capitalism loved that story. Capitalism figured out that if you can get women in the workplace, then you can control the economy. And so when they go into Saudi Arabia and they go into Iraq and they go into Libya, the first thing they start selling is freedom for women. And by the way, buy our appliances, buy our Coca-Cola and our Pepsi, and buy our McDonald's, and
join our workforce.
Join our workforce and get a paycheck and buy nice clothes and cosmetics and
start flying to your job. And well, I was thinking, what did we used to talk about it, that you had to be rigorously free, rigorously
I'm talking
independent.
About free with a low.
I know, but we used to say rigorously free of what? Capitalism, we would say, or rigorously free of.
No, I didn't say that at all.
Consumerism.
You have to be furiously independent of capitalism.
Capitalism. Or consumerism. Now, maybe consumerism
either
too.
one.
Right.
They kind of equate.
Right. That's what we're working on.
You have to be furiously independent of these forces in your life, because they are corrosive and addictive.
Right. And that's where we get to the whole issue of building a resilient neighborhood, is that when Kat says we have to be furiously independent of consumerism, that means we cannot go to Target to get everything that we need.
Okay, no, that's not what I say. And I think you've gotten that whole story backwards somehow, because it shows up a lot.
What's that?
I have never said, and this is what you do. I do not do what you do. I do something completely the opposite. I have never told people, don't shop at Target.
No, I'm just.
What? No.
All right,
this is important.
Go ahead, say it.
And
you say what you want.
And you always
get
this wrong, so
fine.
I want you to hear it.
All right, fine.
I don't tell people don't shop at Target. You tell people don't shop at Target because it's plastic and it's got a large carbon footprint and it's okay. I tell people don't shop at Target because you become dependent on that.
Right.
And the problem with dependency is if they ever pull that back, you're finished.
Right. That's true.
All right.
Right.
So if you want to shop at Target, it's fine. If you want to live in the suburbs, I guess that's okay. If you want to be car-based, that's fine. You'll be driving back and forth. But they can pull that away from you anytime they want to.
Yeah.
By tacking on an extra $2 a gallon for gas.
Or $40.
Or $40 a gallon for gas. Okay. They can destroy your entire life.
Right.
And they might need to, even if they don't want to.
Because you're dependent on that car.
But you're dependent on that
stuff.
car and that big box shop and that Costco and that freeway and that job and all those things. You're dependent on it, and it's a game you're playing. You're playing a game of chicken with fate.
It's going to happen eventually.
You think fate is going to swerve and let you win the game of chicken. Well, what if fate does not? What if you and fate collide in a head-on collision playing the game of chicken? Fate wins.
So when we say fiercely independent of capitalism, of capitalism and consumerism, let's just call it that, because if we are to become fiercely independent of consumerism, I say that we, have to learn to be interdependent of each other and what we can provide for each other. That is where how we wean ourselves off of consumerism, and we build strong neighborhoods and strong communities. Is finding out what each other can produce of our basic needs for food, clothing, and shelter, because that's really what we need. And so was there an argument with that? You were saying,
Okay, that is what is necessary to not be dependent on Costco.
Right.
You need local production. Right now, we're all consumers. None of us are producers. We don't produce food, clothing, shelter, electricity, water, nothing. And you can say, wait, people didn't produce their own electricity and their own water. Well, one, they didn't need electricity. But two, they did produce their own water.
Their wells.
You can have a well on your property and pump the water out of the ground.
Right.
So if you're going to be dependent, you owe it to yourself to recognize that that's what you are.
Right.
If you're going to live in the suburbs and be dependent on car culture and driving and the availability of gasoline, you owe it to yourself to sit back and assess your situation and recognize you are dependent. Right. Now, when I say we need to be fiercely independent of consumerism and these traps, what I'm referring to is that exact moment when you sit back on your couch and you see the turmoil around you and you recognize how suddenly you recognize suddenly how dependent you really are
Mm.
on all of this working every single day, every day the same
Mm.
way
Mm.
for all eternity.
Mm.
You don't have any other options. You just don't.
Mm.
And so long as it's working and it's great, and driving to Tahoe is just an easy thing to do, it's wonderful. But what if it gets to the point where PG&E is shutting off the power to everybody's home for days at a time? That was a dependency. You didn't know you had that. Okay. And I didn't watch it, but I was about to watch a video before I sat down here by Yamasa on a Ranch, or whatever they're called. This guy this cowboy I listen to.
Yeah, right. About food security issues.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't like his politics, and I don't like
But
his
he's a farmer and he
approach on
knows
climate change,
what's happening.
But he's not a dummy. And he does talk about dependency. And he was just about to run a video on, it was titled Preparing for the Blackouts, which is really funny coming from him, because I don't think he's in California or anywhere where there's blackouts. So I think he was just speaking to his audience who may be in places where
he's global. He's he's on the internet.
Blackouts
YouTube.
are a reality, as they
Right.
are right here where we live.
Right.
And so he did a video on controlled blackouts. Now what it ended up being is a consumer solution.
Mhm.
He said, buy this generator, buy this portable generator, buy these solar panels for your generator, buy this and that. Okay, so you buy a bunch of stuff. Now, right now, that light, that computer, that camera.
And almost done. We're almost going to be finishing. So we're going to finish in the next minute or two because I want to stop. But go ahead, finish it up.
Is off-grid solar.
Okay, good.
Okay. I can tell you what that takes. It doesn't take a $500 portable battery with a solar panel. Now, maybe you can run your refrigerator on that for a little while, but that's about all you're going to be able to do. You're still dependent. We are not. We're making our own electricity. So if when you realize, because there's been these planned power outages, that you're dependent on electricity, oh, and by the way, they can withdraw it anytime they want to or need to, then you start to realize, what else am I dependent on?
Mm-hmm.
Where's my food come from?
Right.
I have no idea.
Good.
Where's my water come from?
Right.
I couldn't tell you. Where does my
clothes
medicine come from? I get it from the doctor, but where's he get it? I have no idea. Where's my clothing come from? I guess if I look on the label on the back, oh hell, it comes from Indonesia. Okay, so then you start to realize that you're in a trap. I did a video a little while back about you're in a trap.
Mm-hmm.
You're trapped. Now, you don't realize you're in a trap at first. You think, oh, I'll just go down and buy a portable generator and then I'll have power.
Diesel generator.
Yeah, but then you realize, oh, now I'm dependent on fossil fuels. So I got to have gallons of gasoline on my property, hundreds of gallons of gasoline to keep this thing running. And now I have gasoline on my property.
Diesel,
oh my God, I'm a bomb.
Oh boy.
Okay, and so now it just
and then the fires
out.
Are coming to these places. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're gonna take a break. So we're gonna come back. We can talk more about being fiercely independent of capitalism and consumerism, because that is what you've said in the past that we do need to be. That's what you're suggesting, right? That we be fiercely independent of capitalism
right now,
and consumerism.
Just to close the
loop. We'll close it.
People are broken.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them don't know they're broken. When someone like Don, but they feel it. They feel it, but they can't really pin the tail on the donkey. They don't really know why they're feeling the way they do. They know their jobs went away. They don't know where they went. They don't know why they won't come back. They don't understand any of these things. Our media doesn't help us. The media doesn't talk about these things at all. Where did your job go? Why did it go? Who sent it over there? There's just no adult discussion about why people are so vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's where someone like Donald Trump, a demagogue, can come along and say, make America great again. And that's all he has to say. People are so broken, and the country as a result is so broken that somebody with a tagline, just make America great again, can come along and just put that out there. And
without any documentation of how he's going to do it.
What does that even mean? Okay. And no one knows. Well, no, they all know what that means. In their heart of hearts, they all know what that means.
Business as usual.
But it means something different to everybody. It means bringing back the jobs, bringing back
keeping the fossil fuels.
John Wayne, bringing back military superiority, bringing back
it really
the American flag and on every continent.
Let's just end it at this, because it really means, I think, at the root is
keeping
the fossil fuels.
When you break the people, and they have no future, and they know that, that's where a demagogue just sleazes his way in and starts saying things like, I'm going to make you great again. And that's all he has to offer.
Right.
He doesn't have to offer anything else, not even a frank discussion about why you're broken.
Right.
He doesn't have to even go there.
Okay, yeah, and the last thing is just to say, close it. Like I said, I think it really boils down to keeping fossil fuels because what Kat has said.
Okay,
The
that was
reason,
not a complete sentence. I know for a fact that
keeping
was
fossil
not.
fuels, business as usual. Nothing changing.
Right.
Nothing changing. And what Kat has said is that the reason why we're not going to win this battle against becoming fossil fuel free is because it's requiring us to lower our standard of living. I mean, you could say it like that. And we'll talk about that later because I don't think it's a lowering of our standard of living.
No, it doesn't have to be at all.
But that's what people
It can
interpret
actually be
as
an increase.
I think it
in
really
people's standard of
increases
living.
our standard of and our quality of life.
Absolutely.
Everything about it will improve
You
when
easily see that
we
being the
reduce
case.
our fossil fuel use to zero. It will totally improve everything. But we have to work at it. But anyway, we'll do that in another video. But it's just. That's the challenge is to make people realize that it wouldn't, that their quality of life would not be reduced because that's the fear that it will. Okay, and that's it. I think that's it, right? We'll see you later. All right.
These are very complicated subjects. This is very complicated history getting here, and we're not going to unwind it easily. We may not unwind it at all. It may simply have to collapse.
That's okay. That got recorded. That's the last. Good. End stream. End. Okay, so I hit end. I wonder.